I just started thinking, what am I good at? I was like, I'm good at customer service. I'm good at hospitality. And I said, who's going to help me go the furthest? Well, my dad has this huge reputation in the hotel industry through Orlando, through Tampa. He's really well known. I was like, use his connections, and I'm already good at it, and that'll help me go further in this industry. So we started 2 years ago, and it's crazy how far we've come in a couple of years. I had a realtor buddy who said, Anthony, you can live for free if you buy this home, rent out the bedrooms, and it'll cover your entire mortgage. And I was like, hell yeah. I'm living with my parents at the time. So I'm like, this sounds like a great idea. So I bought the house for $13,000. The utilities were covered, the mortgage was covered. Right now we're acquiring at a rate of 3 homes a month. Yeah, we could be at 100 plus homes at the end of this year.
Hello everyone, welcome to Tea Talk. We got Anthony Lazzara here. Why don't you give us a kind of a 2-minute bio about yourself?
Sure.
Kind of explaining everything that you do, who you are, where you come from.
I'm from St. Augustine, Florida. Grew up in Orlando. I grew up working in the hospitality industry as a hotel manager. Worked my way up the chains to become a hotel GM of Hilton and Marriott hotels. Right now I travel all over the country running hotels. But I recently, 2 years ago, founded a co-living company called My Room. We're quickly expanding across Tampa, and I'm also an Airbnb expert.
Yep.
I consider myself one of the best in the game.
All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little 9-hole match. We're gonna give Anthony about 7 strokes. Does that sound fair? So
Yeah.
you'll start 7 under, okay?
Sure.
I don't, and we'll see if that works out, but we'll also give you about 2 mulligans, and that's it.
That'd be fair.
Sounds good. All right, let's do it. All right, I'm excited for this. Tell me, how did you get into the hospitality industry?
My dad. I followed the footsteps of my dad. He's been a coach and a mentor my entire life. I learned everything that I know in hospitality from him, and I followed his footsteps and worked my way up the chains until I got to the position I'm in now.
Yeah. What did your dad do?
My dad's a hotel general manager.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He is.
So
Okay.
I took his lead. He actually runs the Westin over in the West Shore Business District.
Okay.
The Westin over there. He's taught me everything from 19 years old to 30.
Okay. And then did you go to college?
I did. Yeah, I went to UCF, so I guess that's part of my come up story. I went to the Rosen School of Hotel and Hospitality Management.
Okay.
And that was a huge part of learning hospitality.
Yeah.
That kind of set me up for success in the hospitality industry. I went to a smaller school. I played college soccer, and I went to a smaller school and didn't know what I wanted to do for the first 2 years of college.
Okay.
And I think I came to a realization point that I decided, hey, what's going to get me the furthest? What am I good at? I was like, I'm good at customer service. I'm good at hospitality. And I said, who's going to help me go the furthest? Well, my dad has this huge reputation in the hotel industry through Orlando, through Tampa. He's really well known. I was like, I can just kind of use his connections, and I'm already good at it, and that'll help me go further in this industry.
It's out.
I realized in college, I think in my 3rd year of college, I was like, that's the route for me to go.
Yeah.
Got my bachelor's. Honestly, college was fun. I had a great time there. And UCF won't love to hear me say this, but I didn't need to go to school to learn hospitality. And if you want to go to college and that's your vibe, like, do it, you should. It's fun. I learned a lot in college, but the most important thing that I learned in college was how to get along with different types of people. And I say that all the time. It had nothing to do with the courses, or the professors were cool and I loved them, but the most important thing that I learned was just meeting different types of people and how to get along with them.
What kind of skills do you need to be really good in the hospitality industry?
Yeah, I mean, customer service is really important. But I will say, I figured out that just being able to communicate effectively is like skill number 1 that you have to have. It's been 10 years now that I've been working in hospitality. And I started as a bellman, actually, and then running activities for a resort, and then moved my way all the way up to general manager. And the only thing that I think that I've done to get to that, besides work a lot of long hours and work really hard, is just communicate effectively. Get in! I know how to say what people want to hear.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And in written communication, in verbal communication, I just figured out how to to speak.
Questions that we always ask our guests is, you know, how do you make your money? I know you kind of went over that a little bit, but kind of explain to us more in depth.
I have multiple revenue streams, multiple income sources. That's kind of been my mentality since I started running my own business, is how can we have multiple income sources? And so my first income source is my main employment, my main career, which is in the hospitality hotel industry. But it quickly transitioned to the income that we make from My Room. And My Room is a co-living room rental company. So in short form, we find houses, we rent out the individual bedrooms, and our margin is on the difference in what we get for the individual bedrooms versus what we rent the house out for or purchase the house for. We have ownership in a lot of our houses, or we have full ownership in some of them, and we rent some of them. But it's just the difference in what it costs us to rent or own the house, pay the mortgage, versus what we're receiving from all the people living in the house. Pretty simple concept. And we also manage houses on behalf of owners. Mm-hmm. So I said, why should we limit to just our own houses? We should offer this service to other people. And so we manage for several different owners right now, take a management fee.
Okay.
And that's how we make money off that. And then finally, my favorite subject is the Airbnb game. We have our own Airbnbs, but we also manage Airbnbs on behalf of people. So we've got short-term rental, we've got long-term rental, we've got my hotel career. All three of those just income sources coming from three different places has really like propelled us to be able to grow the company really quickly.
Okay. So what got you into starting My Room?
So we started 2 years ago, and it's crazy how far we've come in a couple years. I bought my first single family home in Deltona, Florida, also known as Del Rico. And I got roommates. I had a realtor buddy who said, Anthony, you can live for free if you buy this home, rent out the bedrooms, and it'll cover your entire mortgage. And I was like, hell yeah. I'm living with my parents at the time. So I'm like, this sounds like a great idea. And I found roommates on Facebook just like that. The rent was $500 each. And it covered my entire mortgage plus the utilities. And so I bought the house for $13,000. The utilities were covered, the mortgage was covered. I was making like 50 grand a year at work. I was still an assistant manager, but I had no expenses.
Yeah.
You know, besides some groceries from the local grocery store. I realized I was good at managing the house. I mean, I was good at managing the hotel, so I realized I could manage two people in a house, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I was like, why don't we do this again? And then why don't we do this again turned into, why don't we keep doing this? So we bought another house in Colorado, rented out the basement, rented out the rooms. Then I moved to Tampa following my hotel career. And then we bought another house and rented those rooms out. And so it just turned into buying houses and renting the rooms out until we had this like massive portfolio of houses.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got places all the way from Colorado to Florida?
Colorado to Florida.
Wow.
Cooked it
so well.
Cooked it to the left.
That is fine though.
It was just renting rooms out for a while, right? Like maybe for 6 months, a year, maybe a year. It was just, hey, let's rent out rooms in the house and make some extra money. But then I realized I wanted to start a company. I didn't want to just be like the guy who made money off renting his rooms. Like I wanted a brand behind it. And a couple colleagues now that work with me, including my girl, were like, let's build something out of this. And
yeah.
So maybe a year and a half ago, we branded the company.
Okay.
And gave it standard operating procedures and, you know, a sales team and our developers, and like we're a legitimate functioning company now with an awesome team that is who deserves credit for us getting to where we're at.
Yep.
I being the founder is great, but the team is who gets all the credit for what we've done.
Yeah. And then how big is your team right now?
There's 5 of us.
5 of you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. We're a small team. We've got our CTO, Chief Technology Officer, our VP, my girl, and then myself.
Yeah, that is perfect. Say it a little bit. Oh my gosh, you got a lot of spin on that.
I topped it. 4 or 5 of us that really lead the way.
But yeah, that's awesome. And then what got you interested into doing like Airbnb
being in the hospitality and hotel industry, I knew that I was good at guest service. I'm a super host on Airbnb, which is nothing to brag about, but
so.
you have to be good at managing a property to achieve that. Sit.
Oh, that's good.
And so knowing that I was good at managing hotels and guest service, I knew that I could run an Airbnb effectively. It takes understanding the preventative maintenance and the sales and the revenue strategy and the rate strategy and all. You have to know all of those things to be able to really effectively manage an Airbnb and make sure it's profitable. And since I'd done all that for a hotel, why couldn't I do it for an Airbnb?
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
And so we've got some awesome Airbnb properties.
Really?
And yeah, we
some cool places.
Some really cool places, dude. We've got in the Florida Keys.
Okay.
A really, really awesome house down there that we manage on behalf of an owner. We've got another one that we manage on behalf of the owner in Miami. Right in the design district, in the heart of the design district, with a hot tub in the back and a pergola with flowers and Art Deco style. These do big numbers, so we love these Airbnb. A lot, most in South Florida.
Okay.
Most in South Florida. Good stuff. I love that.
And then how did you get in contact with these kind of homeowners that own these Airbnbs?
Yeah, so the cliche thing would be like networking events, but that's not really where this happens. It happens in the trenches.
Okay.
You're in the trenches messaging landlords and owners on Zillow and saying, hey, I'm a hotel manager. I can effectively manage a $5 million asset on the beach. Believe me when I say I can make some money for your house. You got a 4-bedroom house. So give me this opportunity. I know how to manage an asset. I know how to maintain it, to treat it like it's my very own home. Promise you I'll take care of it. I promise rent will be on time every month. Or if you don't want me to arbitrage it, then I'll manage it for you and I'll make you $8,000, $10,000 a month. Usually if they see that message, they're like, wow, okay, that's interesting. Like and sometimes they're like, no, I'm not interested in getting into that. But when I do catch their interest and kind of show them that we have a process in place for it, it's pretty easy to convince people to manage their homes.
I know from my personal experience, like going down in the trenches is like super important, like, for getting customers, getting business. And it's like, it's the hard, it's extremely hard, but like it's important because it shows that you have the grit, shows that you want this, like that you're serious about it. Especially if they're like themselves are an entrepreneur, like you've
been through it. I mean,
shout out to Clay Lehman for this good question here, but I want to ask you, like, what is your wall? So I learned this from Clay Lehman, and he wrote an article on this, and it talks about a time in your life where you hit rock bottom, right? And that's your wall, and something that you never want to go back to, but it really dramatically changed the future trajectory of your life and your career and everything else. So if you could just kind of tell us like what your wall was.
It's pretty vivid in my head. I remember the moment when my mom said it to me. I graduated college, it's like 24, 23. I guess it was like a year after I graduated college. And I had a job making like $15 an hour as like a construction hotel renovation, just kind of like errand boy. I was helping a construction company just like tear down lights in a hotel and do all this manual labor, and it was not fun, and I hated it. And I got home from work one day and like started playing video games, and my mom came in the room and was like, what are you doing? I was like, I just had a long day at work. She's like, you're at our house. I was living at my parents' house. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, okay, like, Anthony, you just graduated college like a year ago. You're not making any money and you're living at your parents' house. Like, what are you doing? You need to figure something out. Like, I'm not gonna have you sitting in my house playing video games, making $15 an hour, and it just not contributing at all. It was in that moment I was like, I'm gonna start grinding. So I got 2 jobs. I was working 80 hours a week. Wow. I did 2 hotels, 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. at one hotel, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the first hotel. Wow. I would literally drive between jobs, and I just grinded for a year straight. just making double income. And then I realized like, hey, I'm good at this, and started climbing the ladder. But it took her being like, you had to basically say, Anthony, you're not trying to do anything right now. And I was like, okay, like it's time to lock in.
Yeah.
Sorry to use that phrase, but
no, that's cool.
I
yeah.
locked in.
And,
and the reason that I'm in the position I'm in now is like 75% because of my parents.
Yeah.
Right. I was adopted into an amazing family. The support that I had throughout my childhood, they wanted me to go to a good school, they wanted me to get a good education, the best parents that you could ask for.
Yeah.
And that has a like, believe it or not, like it's not all just your own mentality. The environment that you're raised in has a huge impact on who you become as a person when you're older.
For sure.
And I was just blessed with an incredible environment, support from my family, from my friends. I would not be even close to where I'm at without all that. So
yeah,
I have to be really grateful for that.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely in the same position as you. And
yeah.
Shout out to Greta and Shane. Those are my parents. So
oh yeah, shout out to Greta and Shane.
they're the real ones. So. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what a putt!
What's your strategy for evaluating new investment properties?
A very defined process at this point. I've been doing it for a couple of years now.
Yep.
Real estate, to me, has two plays. The long-term play, when you are investing for equity, and the cash flow play, where you want to make some cash, extra cash every month. And we've kind of dipped into both, right? We have our properties where it's like, let's rent it and sublease it and make some cash flow to help build up some capital and expand our business. And then we have the investments where like, hey, we're gonna purchase this house and in 10 years, we're gonna have all equity that's been paid by our rental community. So common example, if we're going to rent out a 4-bedroom house, and this is for co-living, right? If we wanna arbitrage a 4-bedroom house, we're gonna look for a rent that is somewhere between like $1,800 to $2,200 a month, right? The bedroom, like the room rental market right now, bedrooms are renting for anywhere between $950 a month to $1,350 a month. We have someone paying $1,350 for 1 bedroom.
Wow.
Right now, and in several of our houses for a master bedroom. So
jeez,
pretty crazy that bedrooms cost that much right now
these days. Yeah,
but
everything.
I mean, that's the demand out here, especially in Tampa. There's a lot of demand to live here. So, and when you compare that relative to what it costs to get into an apartment or to your own house or whatever, you're talking $6,000 up front to rent your own studio apartment. I mean, you got the deposit, you got the first month's rent, you got the last month's rent, you got the application fees, you got the background check fees, you got the admin fees. You total all those up, it costs a lot more for someone to get into an apartment than it does for them to rent a room from us, which is a $500 deposit and first month's rent.
Wow.
And you can get into a room for $1,500.
$1,500, yep.
You know, so we're making it more affordable for people to rent comfortable living accommodations. But back to the math, if we rent out 4 bedrooms, you know, on an average of $1,150 a month, I mean, we're doing $4,400 a month, and our rent is $2,250.
Yep.
Right.
So you're almost your ROI is about 50%ish.
50% ROI.
Is that what you guys like to keep? Is there like a baseline for the ROI that you like to keep?
Yeah.
You got max capacity, obviously.
We usually do anywhere between 35 to 55% ROI.
Do you have like a base limit? Like 35 is like your base?
We don't like to be low
anything
about.
low.
I mean, it's a lot of work to manage a co-living house. So that's a great question.
And
like,
maybe risk.
And there's some
maintenance,
risks, right? You know, maintenance and other stuff. Well, actually, if it's subleased, the maintenance is actually handled by the property management company.
That's right.
So we don't even run that risk. Utilities can fluctuate because we're giving them an all-inclusive price to rent these bedrooms. You know, we're making it very easy. In fact, my whole concept starting my room, like as we kind of grew the company, was I want it to be as easy to rent a room as it is to call an Uber.
Yep.
Like right now, the rental process is so complex, and you have to fill out this long application, and you have to go through all these checks and pay all these fees, and you have to wait for the property management to email you back and call and set up the move-in, and like it's really difficult to go through it for the average person. And we're trying to make it simple and straightforward in 3 easy steps. And it doesn't mean that we're going to skip out on any of the important stuff like background checks and income verification, because you have to have that, but we're making it easier for people to do that.
Yeah. So like you're saying that your competitive advantage is convenience.
I think convenience and quality
Quality.
are two of our big competitive advantages. There's a lot of room rental companies out there. We're just trying to provide a service that's better than what they're doing.
Yep.
And so yeah, the concept is pretty simple, right? Like rent out rooms for a higher price than you pay for the rent, and if you have a margin, then you repeat that 10 times, 100
Yeah.
times, 50 times like we've done, and there you go.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah.
All right, Anthony. So another question that we ask our guests is just like, how do you invest your money that you earn from, your multiple sources of income?
Sure. 80% of it goes straight back into the business. And that's because I've been so focused on growing our company. I'd love to pay myself a salary and, I bought a couple nice things, but like 80% of our income just goes straight back into the business to expand it.
And then how do you do that? Like what are some ways that you reinvest back into your business? Like what assets do you purchase? Like more houses, obviously. but
Yeah.
What else?
As the CEO, it's kind of my responsibility to know where to allocate funds to help us grow effectively. And I think that I based those decisions on where we need help with expansion. So into our technology, into tech that helps us, with our developers, that helps us streamline the processes for renters, into our sales and marketing efforts. Obviously, that's a department that always, there has to be spending there to help grow the company. Into an operational team. We're getting ready to hire, an operations manager for our entire portfolio of homes.
Wow.
So that's exciting. But so salaries, I guess, payroll, and then obviously the last part of the investment is into more homes.
Yeah.
Right. We're constantly expanding. We're right now we're acquiring at a rate of 3 homes a month, which is pretty awesome.
3 homes a month.
Yeah, we could be at 100 plus homes at the end of this year.
Wow. Yeah, that's 36 homes.
36 homes
a year.
Yeah. We also have investors that have invested into our company, and we have to kind of give them their returns that we promised. So it's kind of balancing all of those things and making sure that we're allocating the funds correctly and giving people the return on their investments too.
Yeah. And then how important is like investing into like kind of like your education? Like how important is something like that
For it's huge.
for you especially?
Yeah, it's huge. I always get on social media and see a lot of like influencers talking about just talking like they know everything and like they've learned so much. And I try to really represent that I still have so much to learn about how to run a business. Like I just turned 30 last year. So
Wow.
it's like, I'm not going to sit there and pretend like I know everything about success and I know everything about business, because I'm still learning as a founder. I'm still learning how to run hotels, run houses. And so it kind of bothers me when people are very like, oh, this is how you do it. This is the key. Like, share your opinions, but I recognize, and something I take a lot of pride in, is that I recognize what I don't know and what I need to learn. To answer your question, it's really important but to do that, you have to recognize what you don't know. You have to have the competency to realize that, hey, I might not know this, so let me go find the answer.
Yeah. So you were saying earlier about how you had, 80% of your money goes back into like your investments. Go over the 20% that, we didn't get to hear about.
Yeah, so you'll like this one. The other 20% is crypto.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah. We're running up a violent bag on crypto right now.
Really?
Yeah. Anyone who's really in touch with what crypto stands for, decentralization, and understands that and most of the big bag holders understand that this is a market that's just going to continue expanding and eventually take over the US dollar. And I think crypto it needs to be just a huge investment of most people that are investing in stocks and everything like that. It is just, we are very strong on crypto right now.
Really?
And I'm still learning about crypto too. There's so much to learn about the blockchain and about Web3 and Web4. And
Oh yeah.
so I'm a big crypto
Do you accept crypto as like payments and stuff?
Yeah. So
Actually,
yeah,
Really?
it's so funny you say that. So we just got to mention for being one of the first property management companies in Florida to accept Bitcoin as payment from tenants,
Wow.
renters. Yeah. So any of our tenants can pay us in Bitcoin.
wow.
Yeah. Pretty
That's
cool. Yeah, pretty cool.
Here it was. All right, so another question I have like in my list here is, how do you stay ahead of industry trends
Mhm.
and like the innovations in those industries?
It's really just kind of researching what's going on in the market, right? So I don't want to be the last one to learn about a new software system that's helping improve tenant retention, or I want to be the first one to learn about that. So constantly being in touch with what's happening in the news for our industry, whether it's articles or whatever it is.
So I wanted to ask you, and I'm sure a lot of people want to know this, and I'm sure you would like to talk about it,
Sure.
is, how, if someone was trying to get into, the short-term, long-term rental industry, anything to do with like Airbnb, anything to do with like owning a bunch of properties, like how would they start? Like what piece of advice would you give to them and like getting them a good start and, maybe cut off a couple years
Sure.
of experience?
Sure. Yeah. Dude, you just have to, first of all, you have to put yourself in a position to be successful. Like you have to want to learn about property management, want to learn about Airbnb, and like make the decision to do that. And I know that sounds like a cliche answer, but make the decision and everything's gonna kind of follow the course naturally. A lot of people are stuck with just not wanting to take the risk and make that one decision that's gonna change the rest of their life. And if you don't make the decision, you're gonna be stuck in your 9 to 5 and whatever, live the traditional life. I didn't want to grow up, get married, have kids, buy a house, and settle down. Like that was never my path, right? So I made one decision to learn everything I could about property management and use that to take a risk in the Airbnb industry segment. And that's helped me just one thing after another. Let's do co-living, let's do Airbnb management, right? But it was just the one decision that I made up front that eventually turned into what we built now. So making that one decision to learn everything you can about one industry, whatever you're good at, whether it's filmography or property management or whatever it may be, and then just putting all your beads into that bucket.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, especially that are in my generation, is they want to find the quickest way to make the most money. And there's not a lot of patience, because like a lot of people will go on social media and see people like you and be like, yo, like I want the Lamborghini, I want a nice house, I want all these nice things, and I want a big business, and I want all this stuff. And what the reality is that they see this now from you, right? But they didn't see you at 24 struggling like at your house. They didn't see the grind. They didn't see how many years it took you, how many failures you had, like nights that you didn't sleep, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And like that's just what it is. And a lot of people are trying to find the quickest answer, so they'll go put all their money into crypto, lose it all, then they're like, all right, I want the next thing. They'll go to stocks. All right, I'm gonna put all my money in stocks, lose it, can't do it. Next thing, they'll go to I want to do drop shipping, and then they go all into drop shipping, lose all their money, go to the next, instead of like just sticking with that one thing.
Yep. There is no get rich quick scheme. And
Yeah.
everyone said, any business owner or entrepreneur will tell you there is no get rich quick scheme.
Oh, he's so good.
They didn't see the 80 hours of work that we were putting in at 24 and 25. Like they didn't see the long nights of no sleep, like you said, the stress that comes with all of that. Like making money, all the fun stuff like the Lamborghini is a direct correlation to the amount of stress that I'm willing to take on, right? I told you earlier, any property manager that comes to me, I'm like, yeah, we can do it. We can handle it. Like me and my team got it. Any new property that is a good fit for our business, I'll say, yeah, let's do it. Like any hotel that they want to send me to manage, I say, I got it. Like I'm just been a yes man.
Yeah.
For so long, I've been a yes man to everything. And when you say yes to a lot of things, it brings a lot on your plate and a lot of stress.
Well, responsibility as well.
And a lot of responsibility. But that stress and responsibility directly correlates with how much money you make.
Yeah, or how much you learn
and how much you learn in the business. So like, I've just been a yes man, and that's helped grow the business a lot.
So if someone wanted to get into Airbnb, how would they start? Is it just by kind of renting out your first home?
Yeah, I mean, so like you can rent properties out on Airbnb. You can rent rooms out on Airbnb, which
Yeah.
huge majority of our business of room rentals right now is coming directly through Airbnb.
Yep.
There's a big untapped market of room rentals. You need to download Airbnb, become a host, and just learn. Like you need to put yourself in the situation, and you're going to figure it out as stuff arises, right? Like there's still stuff that I'm learning on Airbnb, right? But you have to put yourself in the situation to be forced to learn, and then you'll force yourself to learn, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like, I got a great example. I'm fluent in Spanish.
Really?
Yeah, I speak Spanish fluently, but the way that I learned was by forcing myself to speak Spanish. And the way that I forced myself was I went to South America, I went to Colombia, and not many people speak English down there, right? So I spent a month there. And the only way that I could communicate with whatever, if I went on a date with somebody, like the only way I could communicate with a girl is by speaking Spanish. She didn't speak any English, right? Or the only way I could converse with anybody down there is if I learned how to talk to them in Spanish. So I would literally just go down there just so that I had to speak Spanish. And if I didn't, it's not fun. You want to converse with people. So I put myself in an environment to force myself to learn it. And by default, I learned the language.
Wow. That's super cool.
Yeah.
That's actually one of my goals. Is my best friend is Colombian.
Yeah.
So he speaks a lot of Spanish, and when I go to his house, we could only speak Spanish.
Really?
But I'm actually minoring in Spanish.
Really?
But I'm not fluent. I'm only fluent in listening.
Oh, dude, it's such an easy language.
Yeah, I know, and I'm okay at speaking, but just not really good. I'm good at reading, not good at writing, good at listening, not good at speaking. So it's just I want that so bad, and that's cool that you said that, because that's gonna inspire me to
Dude, someone like you who's goal-oriented and you've got your own business, you're gonna learn Spanish so easy.
I want to.
If you're motivated to do it. The other big piece to that is finding the motivating piece to learn Spanish, or in general. Like, what is your motivation to learn Airbnb?
What?
You had a flop shot.
Is it because you want to make a couple $1,000s extra? Is it because you want to buy a Lamborghini? You have to have a reason why you want to do something. I decided to learn Spanish because I knew it would help me in my career, right? I knew that if I could speak Spanish, I could communicate with our housekeeping departments, and I could run a hotel in Miami, which is what I had always wanted to do when I started running hotels. So my motivation was, I'm going to progress further in my career if I can learn this language. And then I started doing everything I could to make sure I learned that language. Not only traveling to South America, but when I was working at the hotel, a huge demographic of the hotels is Latin workers. That's a massive part of the hospitality industry. I would start FaceTiming with people from Colombia, girls from Colombia, that only spoke Spanish. Every night I would get on the phone, and if we wanted to communicate, they didn't speak English, and the only way I could communicate with them was in Spanish. But obviously I was looking for a girlfriend, or I wanted someone that I could date and hang out with, and so the motivation was generally attractive girls that I was talking to. So it was like I was motivated to learn Spanish because I wanted to talk to them, because they were fun and nice and friendly and good looking, and so that was a big motivational piece for me too. I found a reason that motivated me to learn the language, and I benefited by having a cool relationship with someone. You need to have a motivation for why you want to run an Airbnb or why you want to start a co-living company. Our motivation for My Room was obviously we make money, but we wanted to provide affordable, clean, nice living accommodations in a market where rent was out of control.
Yep.
People can't afford to buy a house right now, and some people can't afford to rent an apartment. How can we help people get into a comfortable living environment and also create a business out of it?
Yeah.
And so I think that was our motivation, was to help people enjoy how they lived, but turned into this business.
Yeah. This is kind of the last question the last main question that we ask our guests is, how do you give back to charity, and what does that look like, and how has that helped you, with your business, and maybe well-being and all that stuff?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I've done a lot of work for Habitat for Humanity, building houses, and that was fun and an important part of giving back to the community. And we do all of our shopping at Salvation Army. And
Like for furniture and stuff?
for furniture, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, we spend a lot of money at Salvation Army.
Wow.
And volunteer there too.
Okay.
Providing affordable housing and clean, nice places for people to live is great, but coupled with giving back to the community is important to me. You know, you can see a change in how you feel about what you're doing. I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna eat healthy, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna volunteer for charity, I'm gonna run my business, I'm gonna spend time with my family. And at the end of the day, when you put all those together, you really feel good about what you're doing.
And then you were talking about how, you know, you give back with your time, you know, volunteering at Salvation Army. Like, how important is that for, you know, business owners or just people in general, to like kind of give back their time for things that are bigger than themselves, I guess?
Yeah. It has like multifaceted, it impacts different facets of your business to do that. It's not just feeling good about what you've done. Like, that will help give you good brand recognition, right? People see that you do that and they're like, wow, that's a good company. I respect that. Your team, like the rest of your team, seeing that you're prioritizing more than just profits and revenues, that has a real impact on your team's morale and feeling like, hey, I'm a part of something more than just making money off rent. You know, I'm a part of giving back to the community. So like, it can have a big impact on your team and ultimately the growth of your business.
Yeah. I feel like for like my business, it's super helpful to kind of give back, because that's kind of like what my why is like, I've been given so much and like been blessed with a lot and a lot of cool opportunities, and people have given me a chance, and so like I want to give back in a way to, you know, help others. And like that's what's more important to me, is like helping others, like helping my friends with business, or, you know, helping people that we run programs where we mow people's lawns, like widows and stuff that can't afford, like, or like people that
Right.
single family mothers, like widows, like I said, or people like college students that have homes. We just like, we'll go, and 2 times a year we'll throw up a post on Nextdoor and say, like, we'll mow your lawn for free and stuff.
Awesome.
And it really makes a difference in people, and yeah, it's like just bigger than we do. Just wanted to close this out, and I know we only got through 7 holes just because there's so many people out here today. It's a Sunday. They got 2 leagues going out.
Beautiful day.
But we did get some golf out. Had a match. Definitely didn't play that great, both of us. But you know, that's not why we're out here. We're out here to, you know, talk about business and you know, get to know you more and let our viewers know kind of who you are, and hopefully we gave enough information to kind of do that. But I wanted to ask you before we close out is, you know, what is a quote that from anyone or anything or a book, maybe a line that's really stuck with you, you know, as a business owner or as a person, that you would like to share with our viewers?
Get better, not bitter,
Yeah.
is the first thing that comes to mind. I, as a business operator and just as a person in general, I think it says a lot about how you should conduct your business and how you should react to different situations of life. Get better, not bitter is like, you were faced with a challenge or something happened, and how are you going to react to it? Like, what's your reaction going to be? Are you going to be upset and you know, struggle, or are you going to try to get better and figure out how can we prevent this from happening again? How can we just move on from this? So I try to do that with everything in life. It's like, I'm going to get better instead of bitter about this, and I think it's just a good motto to live by.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's really good. Well, thank you so much for coming out here and having a match. That was a lot of fun, and hopefully maybe down the line when you know, things change with the business, we'll come out here and talk about it again and see where you are in, you know, in a couple months or so, or maybe a year or so. So
Looking forward to it.
I'll have a part 2, I guess.
Hell yeah, that'd be
Sweet.
awesome.
Yeah, really excited for that, and you know, wish you the best of luck with your business. And
You too.
yeah, sweet. Well, I
Appreciate it.
appreciate it.
Thank you.